In the previous class, I have discussed the solutions of questions in the assignment in kinematics up to vertical projection. I have discussed the solutions of questions up to question number 57. I have shown you the total questions up to numbering up to question number 70. So out of 70 questions, I have already discussed the solutions for first 57 questions. Next, I am going to discuss solutions of the remaining questions numbering from 58 onwards. Come on, look at the question number 58 again, which I have already shown you earlier. The body is dropped from a height h, and a second body is thrown vertically up with a speed 2 root gh from the ground. To what distance from the top do they meet? Let us suppose the first body is dropped from the point A here. And second body is projected vertically upwards from the point B with initial velocity u equal 2 into root of gh. Let us suppose the first body covers a distance s1 before the collision with the second body. That means the first body moves from A to P. And let us suppose second body moves upwards from B to P, covering a distance s2 before the collision. You can observe from the figure s1 plus s2 equal to h. You have to find s1 here. So s1 is the distance covered by the first body which falls freely under gravity. Let us suppose the two bodies collide or meet at the point P after time t. So s1 can be written as half gt squared. Second body is projected vertically upwards with initial velocity u from the point B. So displacement of second body from initial position in the upward direction is equal to ut minus half gt squared. You can add s1 plus s2 minus half gt squared plus half gt squared gets cancelled. So you get ut equal to h. So time after which the two bodies meet each other is given by h by u. So s1 here u is given to be 2 root of gh. So if you simplify that, you get half of root of h by g. So from starting equation, s1 can be written as half gt squared. S1 is the distance from the top where they meet. Half g into t equal to half of root of h by g whole square. So you get h by 8. So h by 8 from the top. In case you are asked distance from bottom, so it will be h minus h by 8 or 7h by 8. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So see the question number 59. A balloon is ascending vertically with an acceleration of 0.2 meter per second square. So magnitude of acceleration of the balloon is equal to 0.2 meter per second square, which are denoted by A subscript B. Two stones are dropped from it at an interval of 2 seconds. Find the distance between them 1 second after second stone is released. G equal to 9.8 meter per second square. So once the stone is left from balloon, it moves under influence of gravity. So magnitude of the acceleration of the stone with respect to the balloon equal to G plus AB. As I discussed in one of the special cases earlier, distance of the stone from balloon. That means displacement of stone relative to the balloon is equal to half into magnitude of axillary stone with respect to balloon t square. Because the initial velocity of the stone with respect to the balloon after time t is the initial of stone with respect to the balloon is 0 because the stone was initially moving along with the balloon with same velocity as that of balloon. So the acceleration of stone relative to the balloon is g plus ab. I mean magnitude of acceleration of stone relative to balloon. As we discussed in one of special cases, when the stone is dropped from the balloon rising vertically upwards with an acceleration of magnitude ab, the distance between the stone and the balloon after time t is equal to half g plus ab into t square. So distance between the two stones is equal to distance of first stone from the balloon minus distance of second stone from the balloon. S1 be the distance of first stone from balloon. S2 is to be is the distance of second stone from the balloon. Is equal to half g plus ab into t1 square minus t2 square. T1 is the time of motion of the first stone, T2 is the time of motion of second stone. So here G can be taken as 9.8 meter per second square. Magnitude of the accelerated balloon is 0.2 meter per second square. You're asked to find the distance between the two stones 1 second after the first stone is dropped. That means T2 is 1 second. The two stones are dropped with a time gap of 2 seconds. And you're asked to find the distance between the two stones 1 second after second stone is dropped. So if time of motion of the second stone under gravity is 1 second, time of motion of first stone will be more than time of motion of second stone by 2 seconds. Because second stone was dropped 2 seconds before the, first stone was dropped 2 seconds before the second stone. So T1 can be taken as 3 seconds here. So this comes out to be half into 10 into so answer will be 40 meter. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So okay, you see I have discussed question number 59. Next you see the question number 60 here. A body is dropped from a tower of height 160 meters. And at the same time, another body is projected from the bottom of the tower vertical upwards. They meet at a height of 80 meters, the initial velocity of second body. This problem is similar to the question number 58 I have discussed before. Here h is given to be 160 meters, that is the initial height of the first body. Let us suppose the first body drops from the point A. Let us suppose the first body travels a distance s1 before collision, and second body travels a distance s2 before the collision, and the two bodies meet at the position P. That means s1 is the distance moved by the first body before collision, s2 is the distance moved by the second body before collision. So distance from A to P is S1 and distance from B to P is S2. So it's given that H is 160 meters, you can write H equal S1 plus S2. So H is given to be 160 meters and it is given that the two bodies meet at a height of 80 meters. That means S2 is 80 meters. So if you simplify this, you get S1 equal to 80 meters. 160 minus 80, that will be 80 meters. The second body is projected from the point with initial velocity u. So distance covered by the first body in time t can be written as half g square because the first body is falling freely under gravity. Let us suppose two bodies meet each other at the point P after time t. So S1 equal to half gt square So S1 is 80 meters here. G is given to be 10 meter per second square. You can simplify this. You get T equal to 4 seconds. That means two bodies meet at the point P after 4 seconds. For the second body which is projected vertically upwards, you can write displacement at time T after projection at the position P is UT minus half GT square. Here S2 is 80 meters. You can substitute T equal to 4 seconds and G equal to 10 meter per second square and T equal to 4 seconds. So you can simplify this. If you simplify this, you will get U equal to 40 meter per second. That's the answer. If you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See, I have discussed question number 60 next, for which answer is 40 meter per second. Next, I am going to discuss question number 61. Ball is projected vertically upwards with an initial velocity. The velocity of 40 meter per second. At the same time, another ball is dropped from a height of 100 meters. At what time their fellow velocities are equal in magnitude? So, the magnitude velocity of the first body which is projected vertically upward at time T after projection is given by V1 equal to U minus GT. That means we are using the equation S equal to UT plus V equal to U plus AT for first body. So using the equation V equal to U plus AT for first body, you get V equal to U, V1 equal to U minus GT. The second body is dropped from a height h. So magnitude velocity of second body which is falling freely under graph time T is equal to GT. So you have to find the time after which their velocities are equal in magnitude. V1 becomes equal to V2. That is U minus GT equal to GT. Or you get U equal to GT plus GT or U equal to 2GT. So the time after which their velocities become equal in magnitude is U by 2G. U is 40 meter per second. G is 10 meter per second square. So you get 2 seconds is the answer. You can observe that they don't collide before 2 seconds. You can also find the time after which they collide with each other. That comes out to more than 2 seconds. That means their velocities become equal after. Velocities become equal in magnitude after 2 seconds. If you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 62. This question number 62 is similar to the question number 60, which I have already discussed earlier. Only difference is in the question number 60, you are given h as 160 meters. Here you are given as 75 meters. So you have to follow same procedure. This problem you can try to do it yourself, because this problem is same procedure as the question number 60. Only numericals are different. So for your practice, one more question is given of same model. See the question number 63. Body projected vertically up with a velocity U took time capital T to reach the maximum height h. Pick out the correct statement. 4 statements are given, which are shown on the screen. Already in the theory part for vertical projection, I have discussed that the velocity of the body becomes equal to U by 2. I have shown by calculation that when a body is projected vertically upwards with initial velocity U, then velocity of the body becomes equal to U by 2 during the upward motion after a time equal to half of the time of ascent, or at a displacement equal to 3 by 4th of the maximum height. So you can observe that the first option reaches the maximum height h by 2 at time t by 2. After time equal to, here capital T represents the time taken to reach the maximum height, means time of ascent. So it will at a time, after a time equal to half of the time of ascent, its velocity becomes equal to U by 2. At that instant, it will be at 3 by 4th of the maximum height, which I have discussed in the past. Therefore, first statement is wrong. Second statement is correct. So third statement is wrong because velocity becomes equal to u by t at 3 by 4th of the maximum height. Calculation for this I have discussed earlier before starting problems in vertical projection. And fourth statement is wrong because after time 2t, that means here capital T is the time of ascent. After time 2t, it returns to the point of projection. So when it returns to the point of projection, its velocity becomes equal to minus u. After time equal to 2 into capital T after projection, return to the point of projection. That means return to the same point from where it is thrown upwards. At that instant, its velocity will be u in magnitude, but directed oppositely. Therefore, first statement is also wrong. So, okay, next I would like to show you the next question, question number 64. See the question number 64. Which of the following is wrong? When there is no aeration, time of fall of a freely falling body is independent of its mass. That is true. As I discussed in the past, in the absence of air resistance, the body falls freely under gravity from height h above the ground, and the time taken by to reach the ground is given by t equal to root of 2h by g, which is independent of the mass. So first statement is correct. See the second statement. The body is projected vertically up. Its velocity of time t is 0. The t is the time of flight. After time equal to time of flight, the body returns to the point of projection. At that instant, its velocity will be equal to the initial velocity in magnitude, but directed oppositely. It won't be 0. So second statement is wrong. So second statement is the answer. So let us see the other two options also. Distance traveled by freely falling body is proportional to square of the time of motion. That is also true. Distance covered by freely falling body in time t is given by s equal half gt square. Acceleration due to gravity, the constant is given place, so s is proportional to t square. So that is also true. All the statements are not wrong. Only the second statement is wrong. Therefore, second option is the answer. See the question number 65. Body projected vertically with a velocity u from the ground. Its velocity. You are given 4 statements A, B, C, D. You have to see which of them are correct. I will do the calculation for one of the parts. So other parts you can try to do it yourself. Directly can conclude that first two statements are wrong because we know that velocity becomes equal to u by 2 at 3 by 4th of maximum height. So it will not be u by 2 at half of the maximum height. So first statement A is wrong. So you can see the statement B. At 3 by 4th of the maximum height, velocity is u by root 2. That is also wrong because already I have discussed in the theory part that velocity becomes u by 2 at 3 by 4th of the maximum height. If you see the 65C, so use the equation v square minus square equal to as for upward motion to find the velocity at 1/3 of the maximum height. You have to take s equal to 1/3 of the maximum height. That is s equal to 1/3 of u square by 2g. And you can substitute a equal to minus g in the case of vertical projection. To give positive sign for displacement in the upward direction, you have to give negative sign for acceleration in the downward direction. So you get v square minus u square equal to minus u square by 3. So you will get v equal to u into root of 2 by 3. So our statement C is correct. So statement D also you can try to check up in the same way. For statement D, you have to take s equal to 1 by 4th of the maximum height. That means s equal to capital H by 4. And you can do the calculation same way. That will also be correct. So both the statements C and D are correct. So for question number 65, you will get the third option. That means both C and D are correct. I think key was already given to you in the beginning of the discussion. If you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution. See the question number 66. A shot fired vertically upwards is known to be at P at the end of 2 seconds. And also again there after 3 more seconds. Find, neglecting air resistance, the height of P above the point of projection and the velocity of the shot. So let A be the point of projection. From where it is projected vertically upwards with some initial velocity u, let B be the highest point at which velocity becomes 0. The body is found at the point P 2 seconds after projection. That means the body is found first time at the point P at T1 equal 2 seconds after projection. So the body is again found at P after 3 more seconds. That means T2 equal T1 plus 3 seconds or 2 plus 3 seconds. That means at T equal to T1, S equal to H. Even at T equal to T2, S equal to H. Here T2 will be 5 seconds. Here small h is the height of the point P above the point of projection. So from one of the conclusions I have discussed earlier, the theory part, that if the body projected vertically upwards is found at the point P at T equal T1 seconds after projection, and the body is again found at P at T equal T2 seconds after projection, then height of the point P above the point of projection is given by h equal to half g T1 T2. G is given to 9.8 meter per second square, T1 equal 2 seconds, T2 is 5 seconds. So if you simplify this, you get 49 meter is the answer. So time of flight will be equal to T1 plus T2, which is equal to U by G. Here T1 is 2 seconds, T2 is 3 seconds. And initial velocity is denoted by U. So you get 5 into 9.8 by 2 meter per second. That will be the initial velocity. That you can simplify it to get the answer. I would like to also discuss another alternate method for same problem, because the method which I have discussed now can be used if the question is given in objective type of problems, objective paper or an entrance examinations. But you cannot use this method in case you are given similar problem in board examination. Any problem given in board examination, you have to work out the results given or in the textbook, regular textbook prescribed by the board. So if you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution. So I am discussing again question number 67 by the alternate method. 66, I'm sorry. I'll be discussing the question number 66 by the alternate method. The body, let A be the point of projection. Let B be the highest point at which velocity becomes 0. Let small h be the height of the point P. The body is found at the point P first time, 2 seconds after projection. The body is again found at the same point P after 3 more seconds. So time of flight can be written as equal to time taken by the body to move from A to P plus time taken by the body to travel from P to the highest point B and back to P plus time of motion in the downward direction, time of motion or time taken for motion in the downward direction from P to A. So if it takes 2 seconds to move from A to B during upward motion, it takes again 2 seconds to move downwards from P to A during downward motion. It is given that the body is found at the point P first time 2 seconds after projection, and the body is again found at P after 3 more seconds. That means in first 2 seconds after projection, it moves from A to P. Next 3 seconds, it moves from P to the highest point B and back to P. Therefore, time of flight you get 7 seconds. But time of flight is given by 2u by g. So here u equal to 7 seconds. Time of flight is equal to 7 seconds here. So initial velocity you will get 7 seconds into g by 2. Can substitute the value of acceleration to gravity g equal 9.8 meter per second square to find the initial velocity u. That is one part of the question. To find the displacement for first 2 seconds. To find the height of the point P above the point of projection, we use the equation s equal to ut plus half a square for upward motion from A to P. For upward motion from A to B, displacement s equal to h, initial velocity u is equal to 7 seconds into g by 2. And time t is 2 seconds. For upward motion from A to B, time of motion or time interval is 2 seconds. A equal to minus g and t equal to 2 seconds. So you can simplify this. So h will be numerically equal to 5 into g, 7g minus 5g, or 7g minus 2g you will get. That is numerically equal to 5g or 5 into 9.8. So you can simplify it yourself. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So you get 5 into 9.8, 5g numerical, or 5 into 9.8 meters, or 49 meters. That's the answer for H. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So I have discussed 66 question before this. Now I am going to discuss question number 67. Man in a balloon rising vertically with an acceleration of 2 meters per second square releases a ball 4 seconds after the balloon is let go from the ground. Find the greatest height above the ground reached by the ball. So you have to find the height of the balloon after first 4 seconds. And you have to find velocity of the balloon after first 4 seconds. So for motion of the balloon, for first 4 seconds, the velocity after first 4 seconds here, for motion of the balloon after first 4 seconds, you can find the velocity of the balloon by using the formula V equal to U plus AT. Initial velocity of the balloon can be taken as 0 on the ground. So balloon is moving upwards with an acceleration of 2 meters per second square. So velocity of time t can you write V equal to AT, that will be 8 meters per second. And height of the balloon after first 4 seconds when the stone was dropped from it is equal to half into accelerated balloon t square, because the balloon is moving upwards with acceleration of 2 meters per second square starting from rest on the ground. So that comes out to be 16 meters. The initial velocity of the ball dropped from the balloon So the initial velocity of the ball dropped from the balloon for motion under influence of gravity, same as the velocity of the balloon at that instant, that is equal to 8 meters per second. Let A be the initial point of the ball for motion under influence of gravity. So the ball starts moving vertically upwards relative to the stationary observer on the ground after it is released from balloon. So if a body is given some initial velocity vertically upwards so that it moves only under influence of gravity, and maximum height reached above the point of projection is u square by 2g. So maximum height to which the ball rises above the point A from where it is begins to move under influence of gravity is u square by 2g. Therefore, maximum height reached by the ball above the ground will be equal to the height of the balloon when the stone ball was dropped from it plus the height to which the ball rises above the initial position A after it is dropped before it starts falling. So here, what's the value of h given to you in the problem? H we have calculated 16 meters and u equal to 8 meters per second. G is given to be 10 meters per second square. So you can simplify this to get the answer. 16 plus 3.2, that will be 19.2 meter is the answer. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 68. From the top of a tower, 360 meter high, a ball is projected downwards with an initial velocity of 10 meters per second. And at the same instant, another ball is projected upwards from the bottom with a velocity of 150 meters per second. Let A be the initial position at the top of the first ball, so at the top of the tower, from where it is projected vertically downwards with initial velocity of magnitude given by u1 equal to 10 meters per second. Let B be the initial position of the second ball, which is projected from the bottom of the tower vertically upward with initial velocity of magnitude u2 equal to 150 meters per second. Let us suppose the two balls meet at a point P after time t. Let S1 be the distance moved by the first ball before it collides the second ball. Let S2 be the distance moved by the second ball before it collides with the first ball. So first ball you can write, for the first ball initial velocity, displacement, acceleration, all the vector quantities are in the downward direction. So for S1 can be written as u1 into t plus half gt square. For second ball, initial velocity and displacement are directed upwards, but acceleration is directed downwards. So for second ball, you can write S2 equal to u2 into t minus half gt square. So at the instant when they meet each other at the point P, you can write S1 plus S2 equal to H. So when you add this and this, these two equations, plus half gt square minus half gt square gets cancelled. So you get u1 plus u2 into t equal to h. So the time after which the two balls collide with each other will be h by u1 plus u2. Here h is 360 meters. u1 is the magnitude of initial loss of the first ball, and u2 is the magnitude of initial loss of the second ball. So you get t equal to 360 by 160 seconds. Nine by 4 seconds or 2.25 seconds. In case you are asked to find either S1 or S2, you can substitute this value of t in the first equation to find S1. In case you are asked to find S2, you can have to substitute this value of t in the second equation, S2 equal to u2 into t minus half gt square. So if you want to copy the solution of this problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 69. A heavy particle is projected vertically upwards with initial loss to u meter per second. Let A be the point of projection of the particle. Let B be the highest point reached with the particle at which velocity becomes 0. The difference in the times when it passes a point 50 meters above the point of projection is 3 seconds. Let P be the point which is at a height of 50 meters above the point of projection. The body is found at the point P at 2 instants of time after projection. The difference of the times is given to be 3 seconds. Suppose if the body is found at the point P first time at t equal to t1, the body is again found at the point P at later instant of time t equal to t2. Then the difference between t2 and t1 is given to be 3 seconds. This t1 is the time of motion from A to P. t2 is the time of motion from A to B and then back from B to P. So that means t2 includes the time taken for upward motion from A to B and also time taken for downward motion from B to P. Or you can write t2 equal to t1 plus time of motion from P to B and back to P. Let V1 be the velocity at P. T1 is the time after projection at which it is found at the point P first time during upward motion. T2 is the time after projection at which the body is again found at P at the later instant of time. So here T2 you can write T1 plus time taken to move from P to B and back to P, or T2 minus T1 is equal to the time taken to move from P to B and back to P. So here T2 minus T1 is given to be 3 seconds. If you consider the motion above the point P, for example, if you keep your eyes closed until the body reaches the point P, then open your eyes. Then V1 is initial velocity at P. Then time of flight for motion above the point P can be written as 2v1 by g. That means time taken to move from P to B and back to P is 2v1 by g. So here g is given to be 10 meter per second square. So you get v1 equal to 15 meter per second. Next, you use the equation v square minus square equal to 2as for upward motion from A to P. Use the equation v square minus square equal to 2as for upward motion from A to P. Final velocity at P equal to v1, that is 15 meter per second. Initial velocity at A equal to u meter per second. The acceleration A can be written as minus g, that is minus 10 meter per second square. displacement is for motion from A to P 50 meter. You can simplify this to find the value of u square. To simplify this, you can find the value of u. So I would like to discuss an alternate method for same question, question number 69. You can see the solution of the question number 69, which I discussed earlier. The body is found at the point P at the two instants of time t equal t1 and t equal t2 after projection. At both these instants, it has same value of displacement measured from point of projection. So that means if you use the equation s equal to ut plus half at square for upward motion, for motion from A to P, then you get a quadratic equation time t. You can say that t1 and t2 are the roots of that quadratic equation. You are given t2 minus t1 of 3 seconds. That means difference in the roots of the quadratic equation is 3 seconds. So you can use the equation again. Here A is the point of projection, P is the point which is at a height of 50 meters above the point of projection, B is the highest point where velocity becomes 0. So if you use the equation s equal to ut plus half at square for upward motion from A to P, s equal to 50 meters here, initial velocity is 50 meters per second, acceleration is equal to minus g, that is equal to g can be written as 10 meters per second square. So you get a quadratic equation here. So numerically you can write the quadratic equation in this way: phi t square plus minus u into t plus 50 equal to 0. So there are two roots of this equation. T1 and T2 are the two instants of time at which the body is at the same height of 50 meters above the point of projection. You can say T1 and T2 are the roots of this quadratic equation. So difference of the roots. So first one of the roots can write, in general we write t equal to, using the solution of the quadratic equation, u plus r minus under root of b square in general. So using the solution of the quadratic equation, that is solution of the quadratic equation, ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0 is given by x equal to minus b plus r minus under root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Using that, you get by 2a with 25. So T1 is a smaller value of t gives you T1, larger value of t gives you T2. So smaller value of t is T1 equal to u minus root of u square minus thousand by 10. So T2 you can write u plus root of u square minus 1000 by 10. So you are given that T2 minus T1 is 3 seconds. That is given in the problem. Substitute these values of T2 and T1 in this equation and simplify. You can substitute these two values of T2 and T1 in this equation. So this first term u gets cancelled there. You can solve for u square and then you can find u. This is an alternate method. If you want to copy the alternate method, you can take a pause and copy the alternate method. Say the question number 70. The times after which a particle projected vertically upwards is at half of its greatest height, bear to one another the ratio. So the maximum height reached by the body above the point of projection is given by capital H equal to U square by 2G. So you have to find the ratio of the two times. So for the body projected vertically upwards, you can write S equal to UT minus half GT square. So you have to find the ratio of the two times at which S becomes equal to half of the maximum height. That means S equal to half of H by 2. Half of H. Half of the maximum is half of U square by 2G. You have to find the ratio of the two values of T at which S becomes equal to half of U square by 2G. So multiply this equation with the 4G. So you get U square plus 4UG into T minus 2 into GT square. So we can write is the equation in the form of a quadratic equation. 2G into T whole square plus minus 4U into GT plus U square equal to 0. This equation is a quadratic equation in GT. That means the equation of the solution of the quadratic equation AX square plus BX plus C equal to 0 is given by X equal to minus B plus R minus root of B square minus 2A. So in place of X you have GT. In place of constant A you have 2. Instead of constant B you have minus 4U. Like that. So you get G into T is equal to minus B means 4U plus R minus under root of B square 16U square minus 4 AC by 2A. So you get 4U plus R minus root of 8U square means you can write 2 root 2U by 4. So you get the two values of time T. The smaller value of time we can denote it by T1. Larger value of time by T2. So T1 you get, simplify that, you get 2U by 4G into 2 minus root 2. And larger value of 2 you will get 2U by 4G into 2 plus root 2. So you can find the ratio of T1 and T2 to complete the problem. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. The last part of simplification, I am leaving it for you to find the ratio of T1 and T2.